When I first began writing Helplessness, I was confident it would make a difference to brothers like me to know they were not alone in what they were feeling. I was confident every brother who had shared the same experience as I would have a deep personal understanding of how I could feel the way I do. These brothers would understand the weight of my pain, my shame, and my guilt merely for not knowing what had happened to my sisters. Then upon learning about what happened, they too would be thrown off balance as they tried to hold on to their reality, a reality that was obliterated in an instant, seeking rapidly into a vortex of confusion and darkness and uncertainty. And then they, like me, would struggle to answer the question men should easily have the answer to. How do I act? With anger, with words, or with death? When do I act? Now, later, never? Why didn't I act? Why? 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 Would these brothers, whom I do not know, upon learning they weren't the only brothers questioning their confusion and actions or lack of, in that moment find value in my elementary words? Would they discover a new brotherhood? When I began my journey, I was extremely confident that yes, after reading my book, these brothers would indeed find it beneficial. I believed they would even find comfort after reading how another brother was continuing to confront the same questions day after day as they are. When I entered the darkness, naked and alone, it was obvious to me they would want to know another brother and possibly a community of brothers understood their tortured loneliness. I was also sure sisters and women the world over would identify with at least one of my 4 sisters. Mothers and fathers would be able to look at my family and say to themselves, my family is going through the same thing right now. Or, I had to make the same choice yesterday. Or, I must make the same choices today or tomorrow for the good of my children. I wanted to give sisters, mothers, fathers a sense of what their brothers and sons may be going through at this minute in their isolation. Everyone aware of this work says it is essential for creating a national conversation around this taboo subject called child sexual abuse. However, I'm not so sure anymore. Most days I find the weight of writing this almost too much to bear. The repeated visions and imagined silent screams from my sisters as Henry, pulling down his zipper, advances on them, grabbing them, and then I hate being where I had to travel in my heart, alone, in order to write this raw, dark, unfiltered work. I want so badly to set this all down, put my pain and suffering in a box, and throw it into a vortex, my personal maelstrom that has been trying to pull me down for so long, and never look back, never think about this work again. I have days when I just want to get on with my life and not worry about my other brothers and sisters, worry about what they're doing with theirs. It would certainly be easier on me. It will put an end to those days when writing and remembering causes me to spiral down emotionally. There is so much darkness here. I look back and think, how in the hell did we get through this? Many say they are with me, but I must admit I feel alone, scared, dirty. I feel conflicted about so much. Should I continue writing? Will this help anyone? Will it change anything? Will it save another little boy or girl from our anguish? I don't know. It would be so easy for me to pretend once again, like I did during those 9 years of silence, that everything is okay, that someone will write this. It has been said if one person has a unique idea, at the same time 100 people are having the same unique idea. If that is true, I can stop. I need not continue. There is a 99% chance someone else will write this. But it has never been about what the 99% will do. It depends on the 1%. Where have I heard that before? How easily I could suppress my memories. I could pretend all that I know about what happened to my sisters and brothers isn't that important to my life right now, and live life in a fake, peace-filled bliss, rising above the darkness on a white cloud and never looking down, never looking back. I could say to myself, of all the millions of children who have been molested, what makes my family so different? I could ask myself, of all the millions of children who have been molested, what makes us so special that anyone would want to read what we went through? In the greater scheme of things, do the lives of 8 Black, innocent children really matter? Do I matter? Does a brother's story matter? Will this book matter? I'm not so sure anymore.
To hear how it went down on 12th Avenue, to hear how my reaction tore into you, is gut-wrenching. It's very difficult to accept that I am responsible for that pain that you felt at that time, when you wanted me to do the exact opposite, and you wanted me to protect you, and I didn't. And I'm very, very sorry. I just wanted nothing more out of life than to be admired and respected by you guys. So I'm very, very sorry. And I love you, Lulu.
I know. Thank you. Sorry. I know. I love you too.
I've missed you all this time. Okay.
Thank you.
That moment, and you're probably not going to like this, but I would say that moment was the moment, that ultimate moment that broke everything apart. Because of who you were to us. I think we collectively would have figured out a way to kind of bring something back together. But when you got, as I say, royalty for me and Philip and Ray, even though they might not admit it, but you were the guy. You were the one. You were the model. And the importance of that can't be understated, not just for you, but for Philip and Ray. As Philip, that's what he points to.
Yeah.
You know, I know a couple of the sisters, they point to that. Yeah. And the fact that we're here today, to me, is a testament to the fact that we were broken, but we weren't beaten. Because when Henry is telling you, you can't tell anybody, or I'm going to do this, or if mom doesn't come to your defense, essentially saying the same thing. Mm-hmm. They think that we're beaten. We've been broken for a long time. But we are here, and a number of us are talking to each other and have been and having fun together again. At the end, they didn't win. And that is so important to me when brothers and sisters come to this, because as you all know very clearly in the book, we are left out of a lot of the conversations around the molestation when it comes to our sisters. We have no idea. And no one talks to us, and we're like isolated. We're lost, angry as you all are angry, and you're going through your own loneliness and isolation. We're all going through it at the same time, because the family, beginning in 71, once one has been molested, in 66, you want to go back a little further, once one has been molested, the entire family has been molested. So what closed that whole thing down for me is when Tracy spun around. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what to do with that for years. I just could not talk about it. And in my mind, until Patty made me aware of it, that I was a victim. Mm-hmm. I'm not the victim. It's my sisters who are the victims. You know, so in a sense, I'm still out playing football. I'm still out playing basketball for the next 40 years. Wow. Because I'm not a victim. Yeah. I didn't even see myself with our babysitter until I decided to look it up. But that is when we were told we can't talk to you guys.
Well, what I always wondered about was, you know, how you guys were able to go about, you know, your lives the way you did, and even continue to have a relationship with Henry. How did you do that? Because I got the feeling, I got the sense that you guys were mad. I won't speak for the other girls, but I got the sense that you guys were mad at me because because I had an attitude. You know, like, remember, this is like the worst thing I would always hear. Oh, she's off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I learned that he had gotten after you and Lawanda. And when I told Cosette and Tracy, like, what? What are you talking about? So you guys kept your thing, you and Lawanda, secret from them.
We did not. Luana and I, yeah, we were definitely our own little,
Pod.
Yeah, our own little pod where we were able to really, talk very freely. Because, I mean, even with Cookie, there still wasn't that full blown, transparency, right? There still wasn't. I was actually afraid to ask Cosette everything that happened to her because I didn't want to hear it.
You were afraid too?
Mm-hmm. I didn't want to hear it. And I was afraid to ask her about it. So like I said, there still wasn't that, even though it happened to all four of us and we all kind of knew a little bit, Luana and I, we talked very freely with each other. But there was that separation between us, Cosette, and Tracy when it came to this. And then, so I just thought that, you guys were mad because if the girls got an attitude or if Lou got an attitude, she's off because, that's just how they are, that whole thing. And I was like, they know what happened, right?
Right.
Well, we know what happened
You knew what happened to Tracy and Cosette, but in my mind, you guys know what happened to me.
Okay.
And yet, why are they getting mad at me? Oh, I just, for the longest time, like really for the longest time, up until the point I moved away.
It wasn't until Santa Clarita, when you told me, and I was a mess. I was just a mess in your place. I was just, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. What are you talking about? It couldn't have happened to you guys. Because how could it? There's just no way. But there's no way it could happen to Tracy and Cosette. Yeah. So we go from 77 to 86. I didn't do anything. I gave myself every excuse you could imagine. But ultimately, it was Mom's responsibility. He's bigger, stronger. We need his money. Mom's going to handle it. Mom's going to handle it. Mom's going to handle it. Of course, I never talked to her about it.
All right.
Oh, and she wouldn't.
Nobody would. Yeah.
She wouldn't have talked about it.
And she doesn't talk about it to this day.
No.
And so 9 years go by, and I'm more than old enough. And I'm sure you guys are looking at that. They're still performing with him. They're still doing this with him.
That was hard. Yeah.
Yeah. My only thought about that is, can we keep any of this family together? Mm-hmm. But it's already broken. The ironic part is the only way it's kept together is if he goes. Because he leaves in 77, but Mom lets him back 2 weeks later, one of the scariest moments of my life, when he comes downstairs and I'm coming in from LACC, and he's just staring down at me. But he stays. Because Mom thinks we need his money. As true as that may have been to maintain that lifestyle, we lived in much worse conditions. Mm-hmm. So it's not like we were not accustomed to living in really bad conditions. It was 9 years of cowardice on my part. That's all it was. For all of you, all four of you. I was just a coward. And it wasn't until me and Patty got ready to get married when I realized I had to do something. It was just eating away at me. It was time for me to to be a man. It's really what it was. Because up until that point, I was a child. I was pretending. But I let 9 years go by. And I didn't say a word. It was one thing to be afraid to talk to you guys. But it's betrayal. It is guilt, it is shame to let that happen. And it was a choice. You know, I chose not to do something. I wasn't put there. I chose not to do it. I chose to let you down, to protect me. When you were just so out there. And then the wedding comes around. So I don't know what your thoughts are during that time of why you may or may not have acted or said anything.
What am I going to do to keep myself together? How am I going to navigate this? So I think I told you before, I just started reading stuff like cybernetics and stuff like that. How do I keep my head on? Okay, if we do something to Henry, what are the ramifications going to be? So we could get him, then we end up in a very bad situation, jail or something like that. And then there's double bad feelings on the girl's part, because if they see us in jail because of us defending them or protecting them or getting at him because of that, let me finish though.
Okay.
Because of that, then they're looking like if I had not said anything, Glynn wouldn't be in jail. Glynn wouldn't be hurt. Glynn wouldn't be this. And so I was just trying my best to keep my head on and still following Mom's example. I'm just thinking, Mom's got to be doing the right thing. She's got to be. She must be making the best decision. How could she do anything other than that?
What I was wondering about is, what are you guys thinking?
Yes.
What are you thinking about us? What are you thinking about us? What are you guys? What did you think on a regular basis? Did you guys stop and reflect on it and go, I should go put my arm around Lulu, or I should put my arm around Tracy or Cosette, because what you guys knew at the time. What did you think about us girls? I have always wondered, what are they thinking? Mm-hmm. Because, like Miss Whitney, everybody just kind of moved on, seemingly. Everybody just kind of moved on. I had no idea that you guys were, suffering the way you were. I would have never known it had you not done this book. I would have never known it to this day. So it's really good to know it, but what did you guys think about us?
For me, when we were told we can't talk about it, then it meant, well, we certainly can't talk to the girls about it then. So, if we can't talk to them about it, how are we going to console them? How are we going to approach the subject? We're not supposed to do that. So it was almost like being forced to be kept at a distance. Like, don't come in here. You can't do this. And so it's kind of like, well, I guess we have to gotta let them have their space, their place, and not encroach upon that. That's their. They have the right to determine if that conversation is going to happen or not me. So for me, it was like, it kept me at a distance because we were told not to go in there.
Wow, that's crazy.
And that's the same thing for me. No, you can't talk about it. Don't think about it. Just move on. Leave it alone. That's how I received it. And
because I really wanted to talk about it, but I got shut down like you guys by one of you. Not necessarily in this room, but of the four.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to talk about it because I was not in a good place.
Right.
And so just like you guys.
12 years old.
Yeah, and so and you know, there you guys, same thing because of, you know, Tracy turning around and saying, no, you will never. Right? So, you know, I'm wanting to. You guys are wanting to. And we all got shut down.
'77 to '86. What that did was give me permission to move on, to not have to deal with it. Tracy's words.
Right.
And you don't know the impact on those words that it has on brothers. It is such devastation. Not that we would have known what to do anyway. It would have been a hard thing to come and talk to you anyway. Would it have happened anyway? I don't know. Probably not, because you're afraid. Literally afraid of you girls at that point. Don't you ever think about having this conversation with me. Period. Even if she hadn't said that, that was the feeling. But then the 9 years from 77 to 86 was 9 years of me sacrificing your feelings for mine. That's how I look at it these days. Like I said, it was cowardice on my part. As we talked about in the previous podcast, it was a warm blanket. It meant I could hide. I didn't have to deal with it. And with you all being out of the house, that made it even better. But there is no excuse that could begin to come close to making it okay. And it's not supposed to make it okay. It's owning it, which I do. And then come the wedding in 86. I don't want him at the wedding, as you know. I read the book and I tell Mom. Because she was so about image. I don't want him at the wedding. Pat doesn't want him at the wedding. Here's my olive branch. Perhaps we can have a relationship, because we really weren't talking at that point. Over this, I had had it with her. I had had it with her for a while on Victoria. I was just coming and going. Here's the money from whatever I was making. But I gave her the last word on whether or not he gets to be in our wedding after I had already put him out of the house, after I had already given him 24 hours to leave, or I was going to kill him. I brought him back around.
Yeah.
So, about that, what have you got?
I had to leave. I was like done with the family. I was done with the family. It was astonishing. It was, I remember feeling naked. I remember feeling like I was completely re-exposed to this man.
I did that.
It was, yeah. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I just didn't understand why. why was it so important?
Yeah.
You know, I learned really early, you know, you can choose certain people to have in your life.
Yeah.
And I was shocked again that, you know, you chose him. And I didn't know why. And I was so looking forward to having a great time at your wedding.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember seeing on one of the photos, my eyes were bloodshot because I ran right into the bathroom and cried my head off because I was so just stunned that you chose him. And
see, what I did, I gave Mom the option because I knew what she was going to say. But I still could have and should have stopped it.
mm-hmm.
You know, that's still me.
Mm-hmm.
But I was so concerned about she having her moment. Can we get our relationship someplace? And it's just another act of betrayal and sacrifice of you and Lawanda and Cosette and Louise. It's one thing to not act in 77. It was one thing to not act for those 9 years. But as you know, that is the single greatest regret of my life, that I did that. That I brought him back around after I put him out. And so I just imagined for the longest time, it was then that I knew why you all stopped talking to me, because I realized what I had done after it was over. It hadn't even occurred to me at that point what he had did in 77. It was the reason why you weren't talking to me had to be because of what I did. There was no question.
Yeah.
I ruined it.
Yeah. It was like...
Because we were talking again.
Yeah, we were. I just had to throw my hands up. You know, it was like, I just have to leave this family. For my own sanity,
Right.
I've got to go. Because they keep choosing this man.
Mm-hmm.
Over me. Over my other sisters. I got to go. And in my mind, you know, I was already like, Miss Whitney, she just so completely destroyed our thing. I just, you know. And, yeah, it was like you guys kept choosing Henry, and I didn't get it. But I knew I couldn't be around it anymore because for me, it was so, I was so depressed then. I was, you know, there were, I mean, just utter darkness. Truly utter darkness. I didn't want to live. I just thought, how could I have, you know, been born in this family? Why did I get this? Yeah, totally. Why did I get all this? You know, how could they choose that big old ape? You know, I'm sorry. Hey.
That's the worst thing you can call him? Okay.
No, but I just...
This is a family show.
But...
Louise, I don't know what to say. Apologies. I'm sorry. It's not enough.
Right.
It is.
And I apologize. I am so sorry that I did that. Because after 86, when I did what I did, I felt I recaptured what I did on 12th Avenue. I recaptured a big brother kind of status. Okay, I did it. And then I turned around and did that. to make mom happy.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with him. It was to make her happy. And yet the whole time she's betraying us every step of the way. Things that we know about, things that we don't know about.
Let me see. What year was this? Probably 1990, 1991. What year did you get married?
86.
86.
Ben was born in 90.
Yeah. And I remember me, you, Patty, Ben, Chris, we went to dinner, and he had these pictures of me holding Ben and his little baby and everything.
Yeah, so even after 86, we
kind of, but it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It was real tepid.
It was tense.
Yeah. It's good to see you. Yeah, you got baby.
Right,
That's awesome, right?
Right.
That. But when I heard Ben say on one of the podcasts, I'm just some woman who just kind of appeared. I've never been there, you know.
Yeah.
I was like,
it hit us the same way. It's like, oh, you really don't have a relationship with them.
no, never
It's
did.
Uncle Glenn
Yeah,
and Auntie Cookie, and that is it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you saw our reaction.
Yes, I did.
What?
And I could only imagine that, you know, here you have this other generation now affected by those choices, because
That's right.
I'm not here because of a, you know.
Yeah, and they don't know each
and
other.
They don't, right. And they don't know each other.
Our kids don't know your kids.
That's right.
Our kids don't know Lawanda's kids. Our kids know Philip's kids, but it's kind of spotty.
Like they know of my kids. My kids know of your kids, but they're not like cousins.
Exactly.
And then you named a son after me.
Close. They're not close. So this whole, you know, it's like you watch this whole thing play out. You know, these choices that you make have those real family consequences that are generational. And this is, you know, kind of like why you're doing this too, to save, you know, other generations from going through the same thing.
As you know, you're trying to stop a cycle.
Yeah.
But there's so much in the cycle.
Yes.
You know, there's so much just going back and forth. I've been wanting to ask you a question, and I guess it would go for for three of you at least. One, why do you talk to us today, knowing all that we've done and could have done and didn't do? Why?
Well, in about 90 or 91,